Ron Funches, round two. You're
Hello,
back.
Renee. It's
How
good to be here.
it's
Things
so
have
good to see. Oh
changed.
my God, have they ever?
We lost the oral. What happened to the
So
oral?
the oral is gone. So the oral's gone because I think that everybody else was being a little bitch about it,
Hmm.
where people, I feel like I've said this and I don't want to like beat a dead horse, but I didn't have blowjobs in mind when I came up with the name oral sessions. I just thought like, oh, two people talking from their
Gavin, chit chat,
mouths.
and yeah.
I thought it was clever, and everyone else thought that it was pervy. So that's on them, I
Well, I
guess.
just kind of, I was just like relating to your husband because I was like, oh, same thing going on. You get the baby, and all of a sudden the oral disappears, and you're just down to the sessions. You're just down
We
to just
are
sessions.
down to the sessions. We are raw dogging the sessions, baby. How is your new baby? What a beautiful specimen you've created. Wow.
Thank you. He's a blessing. He's just so happy and so smiley at a young age, and just takes a lot of his mom's characteristics. So that's been very helpful. He just. I mean, I'm sure every parent they're worried when their baby is born. You kind of know those first few months, you're like, they're going to be squishy and weird looking.
Sure.
And but for me, it's just a blessing to have a baby 2 weeks old. He looked like a Gerber baby. He's super cute. It's so much fun for me. There's a lot of pressure, especially when you're an interracial couple, that you don't want your baby to look like Wendell from The Simpsons, who was the little pale haired, curly haired baby. You don't want that type of baby. And sometimes that you got like a 30% chance. So
You
we were
don't
just
know.
lucky.
You don't
You
know. You
don't
got to roll
know.
the dice. Well, I remember like even when when I was pregnant with Nora, being like, okay, John and I are going to combine and we're going to make this person, and I'm like looking at him. I'm like, he's got a strong profile, very handsome man. We know what we're getting from John. We know what we're getting from me. But then you take a deep dive where you're like, oh right, we have other genes. There's other people in this family. What are we really working with? I remember like really going down our family trees, just being like, what are our possibilities here? But she is like pretty much like, I would say 75 John, 25 me. Maybe that's a little generous, but she's a lot of John.
That happens, but that especially happens with the firstborn ladies, and you're just lucky that your husband is a pretty man. A lot of people, you're like, you see him and you go, okay, I know exactly what your dad looks like, and that can be difficult for some people. But
I
everybody's out there trying their best.
We're all just trying our best. We're all trying our best. So round two now of having a baby, I actually enjoyed when you posted the other day. You posted a picture of your smiling baby saying like, oh, this is a baby that gets successful, Ron, not Ron that's out there, struggling, trying to make a name for himself. How different is it this time around, just where you are in life?
It's a huge difference. I mean, my first son, I was barely 20 years old when he was born,
Yeah.
and it was a big motivator and a big change in my life, and it's what really pushed me to focus on choosing a career and getting involved in entertainment. And I wouldn't trade those things for anything. Those times with my son, and now he's kind of like, he has a really good balance. He doesn't get too excited by like all this new stuff that goes on, but at the same time, I also just remember the stress of just not having money and just kind of waking up every day and being like, I got like 78 cents and there's three people relying on me.
Oh
And
my
so we better
God.
figure something out today. And to not have that anymore, to be able to like tell my mom that my wife is pregnant and just have pure joy and no fear in her
Mm-hmm.
face is very nice. The only kind of negative difference is that, like, because even though I was stressed out and poor, I was still young at least. So I wasn't as tired. Now I'm just like,
Oh my God.
this sucks. Why did I sign back up for it?
Oh my, and also like just the shock of having like a 19-year-old son to now like you are back in it. You are in the trenches with a brand new baby. You're dealing with little sleep. You're back into diaper mode. That's got to be such a shock to the system.
It is just all the changes in technology and all these there's so many robots now involved in my household. It's like a Chuck E. Cheese in here. This baby goes like, you put them in a swing and it doesn't just go left and right. It goes up and down.
I know exactly the one you got.
And it's just such everything's attached to my phone now. It's very fun and nice, but apparently by all the new safety standards, I'm just lucky that my older son is alive at all.
Right? I know, it's funny. I think about that too when I like, you know, obviously we're like in the same boat where like I'm literally watching my baby on the monitor right now because I'm a dumbass. Well, this isn't entirely my fault that I scheduled for us to hop on here during like what is her nap window. So it's great. But I was anticipating John being home already. So I'm keeping an eye on her. She should be fast asleep within the next 10 minutes. But I know the world that these little babies are coming into. It's very cool. It's very exciting.
It's cool. And then it's also scary. When we had the school shooting and I just had my baby, and it was the first time where I had to be like, you get those feelings that people always talk about that you're like, wow, should I have brought in a child into this world? You know? And it makes me a lot of survivor's remorse in that way, where you feel bad for these people who lose the thing they're most passionate about in life. I know, like, my sons are the most important things in my entire world.
It's really scary. I definitely like had a different perspective of seeing that news and having my baby with me like for weeks, thinking about these families that their lives will just never be the same ever again. Like, how do you recover from something like that? Like, I was just like brushing my teeth and like reflecting on my day, and like these families popped in my head of being like, oh my God, like they won't get that ease of just like brushing their teeth and reflecting on their day and enjoying it in that moment. I feel like that heaviness must just loom over them all the time. Like, it really f***ed me up seeing that news. And it is scary. It's really scary being a parent. And you know, when I got pregnant and thought about having a baby, and you think about all those nice things, and now it's like, oh my God, like, what kind of a school am I going to put my kid in? How are things going to change? How do things in the state that I live in be affected by that stuff? Like, it's really a heavy, bizarre time.
Yeah, it really is. And it's just a time where you feel like you have to do the most of your own like research and responsibility, where it felt like in the past, at least, I mean, especially for me, because when I grew up, like going to school and getting like free breakfast and free lunch was like a big support to my day. At school was a safe place, a safe haven to be in some cases, and to kind of have that not be the case anymore is such a shift and such a unnatural occurrence. And just, you know, I think outliving your children is just one of the worst tragedies in this world. So I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy.
No, I agree with you. It's such my brain just like almost halts thinking about it at a certain point, because I think like I can't even comprehend what that would be like. Yeah, it is such a awful time, awful thing to be going through, especially when it is a very happy time as well. Like you have your baby and your career is going great. Like there are so many great things to think about, but then there's like that heavy reality that can kind of come plummeting in as well.
Well, you know, in some cases, Renee, I always feel like that balance is good to have in your life, as just to remember that you're blessed and lucky no matter what your circumstances are, but especially if you're people like you and I who are lucky enough to work in the field that we want to, and that we choose to do these things, and we're happy with our career, and it's a blessing and a privilege. And I always remember one of my first shows that I ever did back in Portland, Oregon. I would just had a great show and I crushed and everybody was loving me. People would get excited to see me and then like nobody knew who I was. They were just like, "Oh, you're funny." And I'm so happy. And I just remember walking outside and the club was right across the street from like the Greyhound station in downtown Portland and just seeing even back then a lot of these homeless camps and like and I just was always remember at that point just remember like, "Oh, this is fun," but like always remember the privilege that you have in this and always
Totally.
remember there is a kind of a responsibility to don't have too much fun.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, have some fun, but also like let's check ourselves a little bit and remember that not everything is just this fun entertainment world that we are lucky to live in. There is some real bullshit happening out there for sure. Yeah, it's definitely good to have that reminder. You've been busy. Hey, just had COVID. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling so much better now. I thought I could avoid it forever. I thought I was.
This was your first time getting it?
Yes.
Wow, lucky you. Damn, you dodged it for a long time.
Long time. I wanted to be a person like, no, I'm pure. I'm a virgin. I don't. You guys are gross and dirty, but now I'm dirty too. I'm.
Join us with your filth, baby.
And it was all right. It was moderate. It was very flu-like for me. I did have some symptoms, and the only thing that sucked is that when I figured out I got it, it was because I went to my favorite massage place. I guess I should give some type of plug since that's the story I'm about to tell. Good people at Burke Williams, many locations in the Southern California area. And I went in, and I just kind of felt a little odd, but I didn't feel any sick. I didn't think anything of it. And I went and got a massage and I just kind of fell asleep during it. And I woke up and I was like, I'm going to vomit. And then I told my masseuse that, who threw a towel, managed to hit me like right below the jawline so that I just vomit right into the towel and right down the whole sheet, right down the massage bed. It was not a good experience for either one of us. She, a trooper, attempted to ask if I wanted to finish the other 40 minutes of this massage. So,
trooper.
Wow. Real professional.
Oh my gosh. That's horrible. I've not really heard of that side of the symptom of just like the vomiting. I thought it was all just like having a cold and shit.
Yeah, that's why I thought maybe I didn't have it at the time. But no, I went home and that test popped within 2 to 3 minutes.
No. Oh my God. That sucks. And then the repercussions of that of not only not feeling well, but you had a bunch of shows booked that you had to postpone. What all goes into like rebooking a tour like that? That's got to be a pain in the ass.
It is a bit of a pain in the ass. It's just a lot of like trying to get flight credits, canceling hotels, and mostly my least favorite part is just like, having to have people cancel their tickets or move them to a new date because, I don't like to flake on people. And then sometimes I end up booking a show or something and I leave and I don't want to get a reputation as a guy who doesn't show up. So it's just that and just a loss of a little bit of money. But I feel better now. Getting ready to go back out next week. Going to
June 23rd, you go,
Yep. Going to Philly.
Yay. Oh my gosh. Okay. So what's the deal with this tour? How has your performance changed? Has your content changed since the last time you got to be on the road like this?
Oh, well, I mean, there's been a whole ass pandemic right now.
A whole ass pandemic. And like, what is, of course, like you go this entire time not getting sick during the pandemic and now it smashes you as you get ready.
Who I am. I'm a value shopper. I'm the person that gets the Halloween candy the day after. They tell me COVID's over. My Uber drivers tell me I don't need to wear a mask anymore because apparently they are the medical professionals that we should be listening to. And I get COVID. So it's just what happens to me. But basically it's just me getting more confident, become more of a grown man in my material, talking about the differences in my life of talking about my sons, talking about my new marriage with my wife. We've been married for a year now. And
a year, yay.
Yeah.
What did you guys do for your anniversary?
We did. Oh, thank you for asking.
What did you
Renee.
do?
Okay, I must first preface it because it'll sound real affluent if I don't, by saying again, we got married in the height of the pandemic. It was just me and my wife. I wore a suit that I had worn for a game show before. She had ordered her dress online. I think the whole marriage was a grand. And so
My kind of wedding. I love that.
Oh yeah, it turned out beautiful in that regard. And so for the anniversary, we were like, well, we could have try to set up a bigger party, have a bigger wedding, or we can go on a big vacation. So me and my wife, we went to Amsterdam. We went to Florence, Italy. We went to the Amalfi Coast in Italy. And we, I mean, to tell you, the hotel at the Amalfi Coast, we had like a private full house, basically.
You bougie little shit. That's amazing.
I went on a boat. I vomited there too. That's a theme in my life.
Seasick?
I did.
That seasickness is the worst.
I hated it. I never been on a boat like that. The music rap videos don't portray the seasickness accurately.
They do not. It's truly horrible. And I mean, pretty much like once you get on land, you're kind of okay, but it rocks your world. Look at the horizon. They say, look at the coast. That shit does not do anything.
No, I had a big breakfast beforehand. A lot of eggs were involved. I was not prepared for what was going to happen. God. I can't believe people mix it with alcohol. That sounds
right. I know,
wild.
But sketchy. That's real sketchy. Tell me about the Amalfi Coast because I have always wanted to go there. It looks stunning. Was it everything you wanted it to be?
It truly was, Renee. It's one of the most beautiful places I ever been in my life. Everybody was just models or just very okay. You know, it's gonna sound bad, but it also will indicate to you the level of people that were going there. It's like everybody I saw there was like 20-year-old models and their 60-year-old boyfriends. I don't know. But I looked at my
everyone's just
age-appropriate
trying to get a good
and,
life experience, you know?
Yeah.
Oh my
yes,
gosh.
I guess. It's so beautiful. My wife just ate prosciutto and melon, and it was just right off on the ocean. You can go. I know you can go.
I would love to go. I was trying to convince John. I remember at one point I was trying to convince him to go to Lake Como. I have no idea why I was even like trying to plan this trip. It went nowhere fast, and I don't believe we've ever really taken it. Maybe it was, I don't know. I was looking at it at one point, but yeah, I do need to, when his life slows down at some point, that's like, I would love to go do the Amalfi Coast. I would love to go do Lake Como. Italy is my jam. I want to like go sit with an old Nona and learn to make pasta, like on her porch. I would love that. It sounds so dreamy. What about Amsterdam? Did you guys really turn it on in Amsterdam? Did you go to the red light district?
I did. My wife, not so much, but she had to watch me. I feel like that's when she preferred to feel that we impregnated her in the Amalfi Coast, but I feel like it was in Amsterdam while I was on mushrooms.
That's when shit gets weird. Yeah. Oh my God. That's the best.
It's just a beautiful place too, even if you don't, because I know a lot of people immediately go to the wheat culture there, but they have some of the best produce, some of the best like flowers and art museums in the world. And just the people there. I love the Dutch people. I love going to the Netherlands, and you can really get into some fun conversations.
A bunch of Alistair Blacks cruising around.
Yeah.
Malachi Black.
Where you're like, oh, you look so scary, but then you're soft spoken.
You're so sweet. Didn't see that one coming.
Not at all.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was actually supposed to do a trip to Amsterdam and then last minute changed it and went to Portugal, which was amazing. But it was because of that I was like, well, I don't really smoke weed. Like, am I going to really love that? And I know their food's supposed to be amazing. I had like rented an Airbnb boat that I was going to be staying on, which probably would have been horrible if you get seasick, right?
Yeah, well, the canals there's not much motion there, so that's actually pretty chill. I actually could be pretty fun and romantic. So I'd say reconsider. You don't have to smoke to have a beautiful time. They're just wonderful music. It helps. It certainly helps.
Are you more of a smoker or more of like a gummy person?
I'm more of a smoker for sure, just
Yeah.
mostly because of diet, really.
Oh, of course. Well, I mean, I don't know. Well, I guess it depends on how many gummies you're smashing. But
Most of these gummies, I mean, there's some people who do good branded things and do and care about what they're putting in, but a lot of them don't. So I try to avoid just getting that extra sugar. I do these tablets that have no calories, no sugar, and those are beautiful. I did them last night at the Loop premiere. And it made it great. It made seeing the same episodes I had seen 3 times even better.
how many episodes did you get to watch?
We watched 2 yesterday, and
Okay.
it was so much fun. I haven't been in a premiere since like the first Trolls
Oh
movie
my
years
gosh.
ago. So it was nice to be at a premiere again.
Okay, talk to me about Loop because this show looks amazing. It looks like it was so much fun to work on. I want to know everything about Maya Rudolph. Give me the
Sure.
goods.
Well, the basis of it is that Maya plays basically she's married to like a tech billionaire, and then she gets divorced because he's out there doing what sometimes these tech billionaires be doing on the
Yeah, they
side,
do.
and he got caught, and so they get divorced, and she ends up the third richest woman in America, and so she's got a lot of access, a lot of money, but she doesn't know who she is, she doesn't know her passion. She finds out that she owns she's not even aware that she has a foundation. And then I play her cousin who works at the foundation and kind of reintroduces her back to the real world and back to her family. And working with Maya, I mean, I always tell this is like it was just intimidating at
I bet.
first.
I bet.
It truly was. It's someone, when you're around, and I don't really get starstruck. I don't know most actors. My wife is one of the things my wife laughs about the most, where like, she'll show me pictures of people and she'll be like, "Do you know who this is?" And I'm like, "No." She's like, "That's Jennifer Aniston." I'm like, "How do you not know who that is?" And I was like, I literally play video games and watch wrestling. Like, so like I know, like if you show me Stone Cold Steve Austin, you show
Yeah, of
me
course.
wrestlers, I'll freak out. But like most actors, I don't know that well. But someone like Maya Rudolph is, Saturday Night Live, Bridesmaids, one of my favorite movies of all time. And so and I just kind of lean into that and acknowledge that the
Oh
first
my
day on set,
gosh.
where I was just like, look, I gotta be funny and I gotta do my job. So in order to do that, I need to tell you how much I love you and how amazing you are and how I love your mom and how you are an
Yes.
icon. And she is just was one of the sweetest persons in the world to make things easy and never make you feel like some of these people, you're around them and they want you to feel like they're big, and that you're not as big as them. And she does not have that at all.
That's the
She's just
best.
always around her family. So her whole family was at the premiere with her last
She's
night.
got
So
like a brood of kids, doesn't she?
yeah.
Good
And
for
they're all so
her.
cute,
Yeah,
so
I
cute.
bet.
And that was the thing, and that I will make me come to work and work hard because I never forgot, like, hey, like this is almost like her doing us a favor. She could be home with her kids. Like she doesn't have to do this job. She's set. Like the rest of us aren't set. So
She's good. What was it like doing scenes with her? Like, were you in your head about it? How much improv was in that? Like, what is that whole experience like? I would be shitting my pants.
There's a lot of improv, and she's just the whole cast is full of like strong comedic voices. Joel Kim Booster is an amazing stand-up comedian, and this wonderful movie, Fire Island, that people are flipping out over right
Mm-hmm.
now. Nat Faxon is great. Michaela J. Rodriguez, who was we got Emmy winners all over the place.
Yeah.
So it was just like being in an all-star game, but we kind of just all bonded and we're big nerds. And one day I pulled out my Nintendo Switch and thought, like, sometimes people make fun of me when that happens on set. And instead, Michaela pulled hers out, Nat pulled Joel pulled his out, and the three of us started playing Switch together. And it was just fun. We just loved improvising together.
That's
And it was a
funny.
great opportunity. I almost missed out on it, Renee. I turned it down.
Shut up.
I
Why?
know, because I was trying to headline my own show. I was working on my own show for FX,
Yeah.
and they were getting ready to decide on it.
What
So it
kind
was
of a
kind
show
of
was it?
just basically show about my life, about me being a single dad of a son with autism, but it's
Yeah.
going to be like a single cam comedy. And they were going through the script. So, and at the same time, they kind of needed an answer on this show. So I was like, I'm going to focus and see, where this opportunity goes. And then one night, I only say this is very much me dropping names, but I'm very happy about this, is that a week later after I turned it down, I got an email from the creators, Alan and Matt, who had made Masters of None and written on Parks and Rec, and then they had forwarded this like just handwritten note from Maya, who was just like, hey, I know you probably get asked to do things and maybe you just looked this over and you didn't think, but she's like, we really actually want you. We know who you are. We know what you can bring to our show. We know how funny you are. So we just hope that you would reconsider and come in. I mean, it wasn't like reconsider and take it. It was please reconsider and audition. And so
Oh my gosh.
I was like, if Maya Rudolph
You
is
don't
going
say
to
no
take
to
the
Maya.
time to,
Yeah.
write me directly, I'm going to go in and audition.
That seems like it's a little framer. Like I would want to like keep that and hang on to that little note.
Yeah, it's in my emails. I got printed out.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's so crazy to think of like life is just weird the way like certain opportunities come up and depending on, what way you go to like choose your own ending of how things are going to go. This show looks fantastic. It comes out on the 24th. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cannot wait to see that because it really does look like a great show, great cast. The trailer for it looks super, super funny. Are you going to revisit getting back to your show?
I'm working on it. We're trying to see if we could possibly redevelop it, maybe as a feature film, or just see where else we can do with it. I'll never just try to I'll never stop being an advocate for autism and for like my son. So, and I've done that through, Surratt and I both did the shoot things with John and Puma and the people at Foot Locker for me. And, so whatever way, I will always find a way to be involved. I'm just not gonna, it's very stressful. That's actually one of the things I really learned from working with Maya on the show, is just how much work it really takes to be the lead and be the like producer and be the face of a show. And it's something I think I certainly do want to do, but I think that I learned from being there that like maybe I wasn't quite ready for that yet.
Right. Well, hopefully like having an experience like this with working on Loot and, being in that world will just be like that other stepping stone for you to getting to do that. Cause it seems like, God, I would love to watch a show like that. I'm sure there's tons of people that would love to see that and completely relate to that. How does that process work? So when you have this idea that you want to create this show, are you putting pen to paper and putting that together? Do you have like partners that you work with on that? Do you go to like your agency and kind of pitch it through that? Like, what do you do?
A lot of my stuff comes out because I'm primarily stand up. It comes out through my act, and people will be like, oh, kind of just ask me what I want to do. And in particular with that project, it came from me. Everything kind of comes from these smaller opportunities. Basically, I was working on this show called Future Man, which was by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg's company. And they wanted me to work on a Sunday. That was WrestleMania. I was supposed to fly out with our buddy Pac to go to WrestleMania with him. And they were like, you got to work on this Sunday if you want to shoot this. And I was mad. And I was like, who shoots on a Sunday? And, but I was like, I'm not going to turn it down. And we were just having a good time. Same thing, I try to be a positive on set and improvise and add whatever I can. And Evan at some point was just like, hey, do you have any ideas of your own thing? And I was like, I've always had an idea for this show about me and my son. And so I just kind of started developing through Point Grey, which is Seth and Evan's company, and they matched me up with a writing partner, and then we write it together. And I sold it twice, so I did make money off of it. So that's good. Yeah,
that's
but it
awesome.
did not get made. But that
well,
happens.
not yet. It did not get made yet. It's still out there. It can happen.
We'll see.
Working with Seth Rogen, what is that like, and how much marijuana is consumed during those sessions?
I mean, a lot in our general area is a lot, because whenever I'm usually working with him, it's more like stage performance. I just did this table read where we did the movie Friday, and it was one of the cool experiences. They had like Gata from the show Dave, and just like some of my heroes in Black comedy, like Lunel and George Wallace, and so which usually, it's his office just reeks of pot, and there's a lot of pot everywhere, and ashtrays that he made, and which is really cool, because I got a couple of his ashtrays that before he started selling them, and they're some of my prized possessions. To me, it's just kind of a cool dude to be around, to be like, oh man, he like. Same thing with Maya, where it's just like, oh, these people are super successful. They can spend time with whoever they want, but they like, for some reason, like me and believe in me, and it makes me feel good. And I always love Seth, man. I'll do it. He's a really cool dude. Anytime he wants me to do anything, I'll do it.
Just to hang out with that laugh for a couple of hours, like that seems like the powerful touchstone. Give me that laugh.
Well,
in my life.
The two of us back and forth.
That should be like you guys should just like record your guys laughing back and forth to like provide joy to people. I used to listen to a Ricky Gervais laugh it would just always make me laugh. Just like a laugh compilation of Ricky Gervais is awesome. So if I could get one of Ron Funches, that would be really great.
I feel like that's possible.
Let's make it happen. Let's talk some wrestling. What are you watching right now? Wrestling's in like a great / super weird time.
Yeah. Very weird.
Very weird time. It's really funny for me. Like, as much as I feel like I'm kind of like still in the wrestling space because of this podcast and who I get to talk to and all of those things, I also feel like very removed and just like observing everything that's going on. But I mean, with you being such an avid wrestling fan, what are you watching? What's talking to you? Give me the Ron Funches scoop.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, not much, Renee. Not much is talking to me. Yeah. They seem to like get started, and then unfortunate thing with the CM Punk injury, because I kind of feel like that was going to be really fun to see how that could build up and how that would go, and then you got just basically injuries around the board.
So many.
I enjoyed the New Japan Dominion show. I just am a big fan of Jay White and Tama Tonga. Human beings. I love both of them. Mm-hmm. People. I did the Bullet Club block party like years ago, and again, not that many people. Some people knew where I was. A lot of people did, and they treated me and my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, they treated us with so much love and so much respect that I've always been just a big fan of Tama and Jay, and to see Jay kind of come into his own and really like, he's like, I think he's one of the top 3 wrestlers today right now. He's really great.
Who else are those other 2?
I'm Daniel Bryan Danielson, probably your husband. He's doing really good work right now. Isn't as well, and he's so lean.
Oh my God, let me tell you how much his leanness chaps my ass. This guy every night before going to bed smashes like a pint of ice cream, makes a hot chocolate with whipped cream with crushed up like Butterfinger on it. The guy's living the good life right now. And just maintains this leanness. I
totally understand that, Renee, because on the show I work with this guy Joe Kim Booster, who is basically a male model turned comedian. He was already a comedian, but he could just be a male. I think he is a model.
That's not fair. You can't be like that's like you got to pick a lane. You can't have it all.
You can't have it all, and yet he does. Yeah, he managed to do so. Got like eight pack abs and just a chiseled body, and then like I'm on set with him, and this dude is just eating donuts, eating nachos at the premiere last night. He's just housing pizza, and I'm like, if I even look in the direction of one of these things, I'm gonna put on 5 pounds. And so I just get so mad.
Genetics are bullshit, man. Like it's really not fair. Yeah, John's like, I don't know, if I go for a run, I'm probably gonna get too skinny. I'm like, you know how far I have to run to like really see some effects? God. Yeah, some people, man, they just their bodies are on it. They got that high metabolism. They're cranking it out.
What are you liking, Renee? What's catching your eye?
Well, God, you know, I mean, to be completely honest, for the most part, I'm watching more AEW stuff because I'm watching what John's doing. I'm around that a little bit more often. I still will watch all of the WWE pay-per-views. I just watched Hell in a Cell. Obviously, I thought what Cody and Seth were able to do was a miracle, first of all. But they had a great match. I thought the women did really, really great. But yeah, honestly, a lot of times during my downtime right now, I need like a little bit of a palate cleanser. I feel like I get a little wrestlinged out sometimes, and I need to take a little bit of a breather. So I'll swing way the other way. Like the other night, I was like, okay, just have like a second to myself. What am I going to do? What am I going to put on? I started watching Conversations with Friends on Hulu. Sometimes I just like some slow, moody shit, and it's great.
I really feel like being a parent really in these early days, it allows you to just dig into your weirdest and most unique of viewing habits. I've been the same way watching, you know, sometimes I also get wrestling out, and my son will be up at 1 or 2, and I try to help out, and I'll end up just like, I'm like, I want to, you know what I want to watch? The 1996 NBA Eastern Conference semifinals.
Guys are so weird. Dude, they're weird, man.
It's weird.
Love that. I love it.
It's very weird, but you get, I'm like, oh, that's good teamwork. There's a lot of good teamwork happening here.
I love that. It's so funny when like random stuff like that pops in your head. Like I'll go down like a big rabbit hole now having a daughter. I'm like, oh, what can she watch? I don't like, what kind of cartoons can I, you know, lead her towards? So the other day, well, this isn't a cartoon, but I put on Labyrinth. I loved Labyrinth growing up. She's not at the stage where she cares about television yet, but I'll try to like find like old Strawberry Shortcake or Rainbow Bright, Care Bears, all of those 80s cartoons are all on YouTube. Or I get into like some really weird, like Canadian television, like Mr. Dress Up. Is it called Tonight Special? I think it's called Tonight Special. I'll have to do a little fact check on that. But today's special. Today's special.
Today's
special. Yeah.
I know about these because my wife is Canadian. Yes. I'm familiar with Mr. Dress Up. Otherwise, I would not at all know who Mr. Dress Up is and then not cross over.
He's like the like kind of more like a little more beat down Mr. Rogers.
I heard he had a lot of buttons. Were there a lot of buttons?
A lot of buttons.
A lot of buttons with him. Here's my question to you. Are you familiar with a little clothing website called Retro Kid?
No.
Oh, you might love this because you're Canadian. Because
this is bad.
Is created by this gentleman named Eric, who I love. He's actually Bugs Bunny now, and many other creatures and animals. Puss in Boots. He's a lot of things. He's one of my voiceover mentors. I love him very much. Wow. But he's also super Canadian, and he made this company where they have all these great crew necks and buttons up. They get to work with some great like national brands. They did an Inspector Gadget run that was really enjoyable, but what they specialize in is you could probably right now go purchase yourself a Mr. Dress Up hoodie if you want to. My wife has one. She wears it all the time.
Going to like, I actually just stumbled upon, because I'm that sucker that falls for every Instagram ad, but I found this website that had this like really great old school ET sweatshirt that I bought. I also got a Bart Simpson baseball tee, and I got like a Care Bears denim jacket, which I don't think I needed, but we'll see what happens. Maybe my daughter will be amused by it at some point.
You talking strictly mainstream cartoons, but I'm telling you, this company, they just put out a drop on Heinz ketchup chips.
Shut the up.
If you wanted yourself a Heinz ketchup chip hoodie, you could be wearing that.
Oh no, this is dangerous. I'm literally, as soon as we jump off, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm going to be ransacking that website 100%. Oh my God. So great. Let's talk a little commentary for you. Do you ever plan on jumping back on commentary? I know it's something that you were doing with GCW for a little while. Is that something you want to do again?
Possibly. I can't really see myself doing that consistently, just because it's with the GCW and the LA fight shows that they were doing. They're like weekly shows, and I got my career, it was going well, so I can't really do that for no money.
You can't have all these little passion projects.
What I am doing, Renee, I can't really get into too much detail because we don't have a drop date or anything, is that I'm starting a pro wrestling podcast with our good friends at Spotify. And it's basically going to be me. It's going to be kind of character based. Basically, imagine if we took the world of First Take and Stephen A. Smith and applied it all strictly to professional wrestling.
Oh my God. Who else are you doing it with? Can you say?
I'm putting together a team as we speak. I was hoping you could come by and do some debates.
I would love to, please. I would love to be a part of that. That's amazing.
It's going to be a fun time. I love it. And I love a place that's going to give me money to just practice, just do weird stuff and see if it fails or not. I'm excited.
That's great. Things are coming up Funches right now.
Yeah.
It's working out. That's great. Oh my God. That's very cool. I feel like, there's so many different like wrestling podcasts, but I think getting like the right people together, the right chemistry, finding the right topics, obviously on the creative side of things, I feel like that's something you would knock out of the park. But
I think it could be really fun. And also I feel like so many of them focus on like so much behind the scenes stuff.
Yes.
And I'm gonna more apply the like sports world of like, we'll treat some of these things as real. And then that way
that's more fun. I don't like getting into like the nitpicky things. Like I just like keeping wrestling fun. I don't want to get in the trenches or like, I don't know. I like the fun side of things. So I like the idea of keeping it like more on like that creative. Yeah. Keep things in that real world. That's way more fun.
Yeah. I think it'll be a blast. I'm excited about it.
What about Better Together? What's going on there?
I don't know what that is. What is that? Was that me? Oh, is that my part? Oh, Getting Better.
Oh, Getting Better. Shit. Sorry.
No, I don't think something Better Together.
Oh my God.
It's something.
Is that something? I think it is something, but I don't know what that is.
I think it's a show.
Okay.
I don't know. Oh, my podcast Getting Better is doing well. I've been doing some of these best of episodes because I'm upgrading my studio and we moved. Yeah, it sucks because I like being consistent. I don't like missing any weeks at all. But with the move and the baby and everything, but actually I find it's really been helpful because I still record fresh intros for every episode, and then a lot of times just reintroducing people to some of my favorite episodes when the podcast has gotten a little bit bigger now. It turns out to be a good move. So but we're getting back to recording some fresh episodes coming up this next week, so it keeps moving. It's more of it's never gonna be like a project where I'm like, are we making, I don't know how many listeners we have. I don't check anything. It's just something I do because my wife really loves it. And she's like, she's like, I love your comedy. I love your acting. She goes, but your podcast is the thing where I see people you actually help people.
Yeah.
People get a lot of things from the affirmations. They get a lot of things from the conversations we have with just talking about getting better at our craft and getting better at life. And so I'll just keep doing it until I'm bored with it.
What were some of your best episodes, would you say? Or best guests?
Oh, let's see. You were a great guest.
Okay. I wasn't looking for the plug. I'll take
but
it.
We'll start with that. Yeah, but I mean, could I say that and say that like some people come in and they just think it's going to be like a straight interview, or we're going to talk about their career all the time. And then there are some people who take time to kind of learn the format and the vibe of the show, which is all about self-improvement and affirmations and about being works in progress and about kind of demystifying this thing of like, oh, that person made it. I could never get to where they are, when we all know, everybody I know is like, we've all struggled. We've all gone from open mics or, wherever you start, we all start somewhere. And it's just about like chronicling that journey so people feel like they can do it as well. And you've really were open to that format and talking about your career path and changes and the fears that come up with the changes that were happening in your life. So I really like that episode. We have a great one with Whitney Cummings. She was very open about just mental health and relationships and toxic relationships, and got some great feedback on that, where we got an email from a lady who said that she ended an abusive relationship because she listened to that podcast. So things like that really make me happy. And then just also we did one with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Stone Cold Steve Austin was just in my little office at my house. So that made me feel good.
That like
it was really super chill. He seemed like just regular one of my friends. I have weird friends.
Did he bring some beers with him?
He did. He drove a Ford Fiesta.
Oh my God, that's adorable.
That's really
great.
Was.
Were you so, I mean, you staying at the beginning of this too, which by the way, I'm wearing my Stone Cold shirt. But you don't know actors, you don't know who these people are, but wrestling is that epicenter for you. Were you freaking out that Stone Cold was like there?
Absolutely, certainly was. But I just, the more I know I'm going to get freaked out, the more I prepare ahead of time, so I don't space out and things. So I had a bunch of questions ready, and it's just like, not only just as like, to me, Stone Cold, the pro wrestler and the person who I just grew up in loving, it's interesting to me to think about someone who reaches what we would consider the absolute pinnacle beyond things you could imagine. As far as literally at one point, he was one of the most famous people in the entire world, up there with presidents, and still to this day, if you ask someone about pro wrestler, they're probably going to say, Stone Cold. Like Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold. And to have that, and then have your only get basically 2 to 3 years at the top, and then have your career in, and then have to keep living. It's interesting. That's a life. Like, that's something where you have to go like, what's that like? And he was very honest with talking about, like, times where he turned to drinking, and times where he was just not doing well with dealing with that. And to hear someone so strong and someone who we consider so indestructible talk about like, those were rough times for me, and this is how I got through it, I think was like some of the just greatest life lessons I even heard.
God, it's so interesting to think about that, because you think of somebody like Stone Cold and you all like instantly, it's this larger than life, huge celebrity. Like, it's not easy to just get Stone Cold to come to your house to come and have that hangout. He kind of keeps pretty removed from a lot of things. And to be at the top for like those 3 years, and then to be away from it and trying to find ways to like, okay, how do I take this Stone Cold character that I am, and how do I keep making money? How do I keep moving forward? I always remember this interview that I listened to with Ellen Pompeo. Is that who it was? Yes. And she was talking about how she's wait, it's not Ellen Pompeo. Holy shit. Who's the actress in Grey's Anatomy? It's not Ellen Pompeo, is it?
I don't know. I don't know actors. I told you.
It is Ellen Pompeo. Okay. Thanks, Emilio. Okay, so I was listening to this interview with Ellen Pompeo, and she was on Dax Shepard's podcast, and she was talking about how she stayed on Grey's Anatomy for they're on to like 18 seasons or something. And she's like, yeah, I mean, sure, there was definitely times that I wanted to maybe go do some other things or see what else my career would look like. But she, you know, she has a really steady, great gig, gets to stay in the same spot all the time, blah, blah, blah. But she was talking about how difficult it can be and how she's seen it happen to like other actors when you are at the height of this fame. And then all of a sudden you don't have that. And you're trying to find ways to like kind of reestablish yourself. And you're still a super recognizable person. So even if you wanted to go do something somewhat more common, you kind of can't because you are this like famous person. That sounds like a weird position to be in, but it, you know, it only applies to so many people. And that's got to be a really hard thing to deal with. And who do you even talk to about that? Because it is a very unrelatable thing to talk about.
Yeah, I imagine it's a very small club of people that you could even talk about that. But what I think what lesson that it can apply for some of the rest of us is that often like people are in a rush to make it, right? People are in a rush to get famous by any means necessary.
Yeah.
Whereas the longer I'm in this business and the more I work, I'm like, oh, just having a career and being able to plug away and go and do different things. And people might be like, you know, I'm doing the show Loot, and for like my agent is like, man, he's like, I haven't seen your name up on the screen like that in a long time. And I'm like, I'm like, you know how much I've been doing. We've been doing so many things, but in a way it's also right, you know. And but that's for me, that's what works, and that's gonna be okay. Like I love just like plugging away and working and having my home and having my life and not having to more like the right people know what I do and the right people know what I'm capable of. And I don't need everyone to know. I talked to actually my friend, Anthony Jeselnik. We were just backstage at the store one day and we were just talking about how things are changing with comedy and a lot of the people who were very popular at the store are now stepping away and you got to come back in and fill these things and just about, and he just was like, he's like, you know, I never really focus on that. He's like, I always never wanted to even like, I just think about the type of comedians and the type of artists I liked when I was a kid. I didn't like the people who were the biggest names in the world. I like these fun, weird actors. I like the Steve Buscemi's. I like those, you know, the people who had these long arcing careers and did their own. Call them
like the
thing.
Intercontinental Championship careers. We want those workhorses that are out there getting it done, that you know they have the respect.
Yeah, the respect of their peers, the respect of the crowd, and they don't necessarily go and get you know, but they propping it up.
Spot.
Yeah. The Hulkamania, Dane Cookamania, they were very similar things.
Yes. Just to make everything wrestling. I feel like that was a good analogy, but no, it's true. I mean, no, I'm the same. It's like, it's not always about that big star marquee name. It's the other things around that. And also, it's like the respect of putting in that work. And on the other side of that, being that person and still being able to have a life and having that balance. As I think you get older and those other pieces start to fall into place, it's really nice to just like settle into those things and appreciate what you have. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's nice to just know when you've won. Some people keep fighting after the game's over.
We don't need that. We don't need it. Well, Ron, I'm so happy that we got to hang out again. I cannot wait to check out Loot. That's coming out on Apple Plus, Apple TV, Apple Plus,
all of it. Apple TV Plus,
Apple TV Plus.
Cool, I know, right?
I had to tag something for that on Twitter the other day, and I was like, "Wait, am I saying this right?" Anyways, we love us some Apple over here. But June 24th, that's coming out. You're hitting the road again on the 23rd. You're going to be in Philadelphia. Where can people check out where you're going to be?
I can go to ronfunches.com. I'm on my Back at It tour. 23rd is in Philly, then New York, and then Boston the 2 days after that, 24th and 25th. And then I'm moving over to the West Coast, be in Seattle, San Francisco, Phoenix. I'm doing the Midwest. Just go to ronfunches.com. I'm around.
Come on through to the Midwest. We'll hold it down over here.
You gonna come to Minneapolis? You gotta come.
Okay, Minneapolis might be a little far.
Chicago.
Chicago's more my speed. That we could do. All right, it was so good to see you. Get back on the road. Knock this COVID out of the way. No more puking on masseuses. Onward and upward.
Yeah, not without paying extra for it.
Yeah, exactly right.
Which I did. I tipped her well.
Handsome tip. Please send my best to Maya Rudolph. Give her a little smooch on the cheek and like a nod, in a friendly way.
Absolutely.
Thank
I'll
you.
come out of nowhere with it. Always a pleasure, Renee.
Always.